Halo semua, hari ini aku mau explore kampusku nih dan mau infoin ke kalian semua betapa mudahnya kehidupan kuliahku di BINUS. Di BINUS University, pembelajarannya bisa secara offline dan online, jadi kita bisa belajar di mana aja dan kapan aja. Jangan khawatir, keinginan kalian untuk terus belajar akan sangat dihargai di BINUS. Contohnya nih, kalau kalian punya sesuatu yang ingin didiskusikan atau ingin kalian tanyakan, boleh banget langsung menghubungi dosen atau orang yang ahli di bidangnya. Ada lagi nih yang lebih oke. BINUS punya
Wow, what an eye-opening section and performances. Thank you for the performances. Welcome back all participants. Hope everyone enjoy yourself throughout the performance. And that is all for the case study and business pitching section. Albert Einstein once said, the only source of knowledge is experience. Now, let us pass the floor to Ms. Cheryl Lim Qianying to share with us some details of the speaker for today, Mr. Ray Ngkatik from FCCA. Before that, I would like to introduce you to the moderator, Ms. Cheryl Lim Qianying. Ms. Cheryl graduated from Thai UC in May 2020 with a Bachelor of Accounting, and she is currently pursuing postgraduate studies in Thai UC for Master in Accounting and Finance. At the same time, she is also a lecturer in Thai UC. Without delay, Ms. Cheryl, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Oyueki. Now, without further ado, we are glad to welcome our final speaker of the day, a FCCA member, Mr. Ray Ngkatik. He will be sharing with us about his experience as a FCCA member and the importance of having a professional qualification, which will be very useful if you are interested in continuing your professional development. Mr. Ray is currently a Tower Lead, Operation Lead in Avery Sendram Berhad, a global business services company that supports business operations around the globe with main activities in Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, China, and Brazil. Mr. Ray has over 20 years of working experience in various industries, which include audit and consultancy, property, mining, aviation, automobiles, and global business services in the capacity of finance and business controller based in Malaysia, Thailand, and China. He has been actively participating in various forums and talks in relation to finance and accounting, covering careers in accountancy, global business services, digital automation, and others. He is the committee member of ACCA Malaysia Advisory Committee, advisor of ACCA Young Member Network, fellow of ACCA, member of Malaysian Institute of Accountants, member of ASEAN CPA, member of industry adjunct for Inti College and University, mentor for ACCA OBU program, and ACCA lecturer for financial reporting and audit. Now let's welcome Mr. Ray.
Thank you. Cheryl, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, welcome to my session. And today, I believe, besides member from TAR, we have also members from Indonesia side from the Binus University. So, selamat siang untuk kita semua. Selamat datang di sharing session saya hari ini. Semoga kita selalu dalam keadaan sehat walafiat di kondisi pada pandemik ini. So, thank you. So I believe today is a quick sharing session of myself, being an accountant and also an ACCA member. So I would like to start with my studies. I'm a full ACCA graduate, which I don't actually go for any university degree, but I started my university with ACCA and qualified as an ACCA affiliate when I was about 20 years old. So it will be many years back. Okay, so after I qualified as an ACCA affiliate, which is a graduate from ACCA, I actually started my career in audit. Then I went into my career into consulting, particularly on the SME area, which after that I actually joined some of the commercial firms in the steel industry as the financial controller for the company. So being graduated earlier at the age of 20, I do have the advantage of starting my career earlier and also able to obtain the number of experience earlier as compared to the other graduates. So probably consider myself as a very good and important advantage towards early graduate. So my dreams of my own profession is always being an accountant. So a lot of questions being asked, how to be an accountant. Now, when I mention accountant here, I'm saying that, okay, how one person can become a professional, a qualified accountant within a country perspective, I mean, within the country legal regulation. So for example, in Malaysia, if you want to be a qualified accountant, you need to have one, a recognized qualification and a minimum 3 years of working experience. And before you actually being admitted in Malaysia Institute of Accountant or being a member of Malaysia Institute of Accountant, then therefore you can only qualify yourself to say that you are a qualified accountant. I believe same in Indonesia, you will have your own bodies to certify you as an accountant. So I graduated from ACCA. Okay, I have my 3 years working experience. So first, I applied to be an ACCA member. With the qualification as an ACCA member itself, I then applied to MIA to become the qualified accountant for Malaysia, which will usually bring you a title of CA and Chartered Accountant of Malaysia. Now, my advice to students is always, your first 3 years of experience is important because it will lead you to be qualified as a professional accountant, being in Malaysia or in Indonesia or even other Asian countries. That is a very important step for being an accountant. So after I have qualified as an accountant, I still stay within the line of being an accountant. But after about 8 years in Malaysia, I've actually gone over to overseas. Okay, so my first venture into overseas is to Thailand, which I work for a listed company in Thailand as the corporate controller of the company over there. And subsequently, after that, after Thailand, I also moved on to China as being a financial controller as a start for the China Mercedes-Benz distributors. So how does it change from here of being accountant or being a corporate controller or being a overseas aspect? Now, with a basic qualification, okay, whether a degree or what, it actually poses you a very basic knowledge for you to excel into whatever industry that you wanted to move in. So when I was in Thailand, the corporate controller job will be slightly different than an accountant, where we don't only deal with debit credit only. We also look at all the controlling issues, process issues, and also business issues of the mining and property industry over there. Right? Then from there, we have actually accumulated a lot of business knowledge instead of only accounting, where it makes us become a finance business partner rather than an accountant who deal with the daily bookkeeping and also the double entry only. A more interesting career is when I have moved myself on to China, where I started with the company as a financial controller. Subsequently, I actually been promoted, okay, the dealer principal, or in a way we call it the general manager of the Mercedes Benz distributor center, which we do the sellings and also repair of Mercedes series. Now it is a change where very common accountant will become an operator, where you have become a GM or you become a CEO. It is very important that once accumulate their own knowledge, okay, as their basic start of the foundation, where I always felt that accountancy students will always have the extra advantage as we are the person who know the figures well. But that only provides us foundation, which is good for us to venture into different industry or different profession that you might want to go into in the future itself. So as a start, when I study accountancy, my end dream is never to be an accountant, but my end is hope that I could be someone who is on a business operation role, example, like a chief operating officer or a chief executive officer of a company. But it's always good, like what I mentioned earlier, to start off with as a person who is having a financial knowledge, and I always regard myself, my profession is an accountant, but the things that I do might not fully be related to accounting. So for all graduates or those who are going to graduate, my advice to you all always is get your 3-year foundation done properly before you decide which field that you wanted to move into, which is very important. So being a member of ACCA, it also provided me some advantage when I travel to overseas or when I was based in Thailand and China. ACCA is like an international community, okay, where whenever I go to places that I go to or the country that I go to, they always have some community of ACCA over there, where you can actually get in touch with them, and also they could assist you, especially when you are going to a new places like Thailand and China. And being an expatriate, you might not be familiar with the locals. So this also provides a very good opportunity for me to have engagement with the local ACCA members, so that we can further understand or better understand on what happens in the locals, and especially like the local regulatories and also the local culture. After my ventures in Thailand and China, I'm back to Malaysia, and the industry that I'm in now is actually global business services, where is accounting and finance service related, which we provide accounting and service and finance related services to our customer. But the main thing that I'm doing is more on service delivery with my accounting knowledge. Okay, so yet again, I'm going into a role where finance accounting might not be my main bread and butter, but I will require those knowledges as my foundation towards the work that I'm doing now. And of course, being a professionally qualified, both in the country of Malaysia and also internationally through ACCA, it provides us a passport for you to get into the other country to work, which the qualification of ACCA is well recognized. I believe now it should be more than 160 countries for now. So there are questions of students being asked commonly whenever I have a talk is that, is a degree sufficient? A degree is sufficient, but you will need to look at the local regulatory, whether it's sufficient for you to become a qualified accountant, or you're merely getting a degree, but not wanted to be a professional accountant. Okay, or certain industry will, or certain country will require you to get a professional qualification, for example, in Malaysia. Now, the professional qualification like ACCA will not be only set as a path for you to be recognized as an accountant within a country, but it's also setting you as a path or a platform for you to venture internationally. For example, myself, which my engagement in Thailand and set as a good example. Together with the job that I've gone through, or even my current job portfolio, we are actually managing accounting and finance services within the region, which go across like Brazil, Indonesia itself, China, Korea, Japan, Singapore, and also Malaysia. So it sets you on an international path. And another thing I would encourage for degree students or other students to pursue for professional qualification is the syllabus change and also relevantness of the professional qualification. Now, every few years, ACCA will actually change its own syllabus for their foundation study or even their professional study. Now, whenever ACCA have a change on their syllabus, I'm very interested to look at what are the changes, especially the new subject or new syllabus that is introduced by ACCA. Why? Because it gave me a free research into what is required in the market, which I always echo and also agree with the changes that they have made. Examples like the changes to the SPL and SBR paper, which as an employer or a hiring manager, I would really hope that any graduate that join my firm or my company as a management associate or ordinary staff, this knowledge are essential for them to understand on how the changes in the market and requirement in the market, especially like we are talking about Industry 4.0, which my company is actively participate in that, where we actually implemented a lot of RPA, the robotic process automation, and also we are digitizing and digitalizing our process. So in a way, there's a lot of articles that say, oh, all this will actually kill off all the accounting opportunities. I can tell you this is wrong, but what we require from accounting students or fresh graduate now is more than what is required before this. Now, before this, probably we will need people to do ledger entry, double entry, download reports, or do some basic report. But now the requirement is more on analyzing. Okay, so as a fresh graduate, if you were to join my company in my management reporting team, what we are looking at is no longer you how on the candidate, their knowledge or their credit, but more towards the analytical knowledge or analytical understanding of the students or the fresh graduate, which is very well reflected in both the SPL and SPR paper. Like what I mentioned earlier, I always like to look at what type of syllabus change that ACCA have made. Just like recently, they came out with a new program called FIA, which I'm very particularly interested in one of the subjects that they have newly introduced, which the subject itself talks about a lot of leadership, a lot of change management, a lot of new technology studies or introduction in relation to the industry 4.0, like AI and blockchains, all this. You might only have basic knowledge through your study or through your classroom studies you have gone through your lecture, but that is a very important basic that you should acquire or you need to acquire before you enter into the real work life. For example, like myself or some of my staff who have been working for more than 15 years, they during our time we wouldn't have the opportunity to study those syllabus in college or even university. Right? So I always tell my existing staff that don't forget those new graduates that are joining us, like maybe any one of you, okay, in the future, they could understand what is all this industry 4.0 better than any one of us because it's part of partial of the study. Just like in the past, what we study most on management paper is like Maslow theory. But now, probably Maslow theory have gone advanced in what we have gone through, right? So, now it was not previously included in our syllabus. Okay, so education evolved based on what happened in the market. It is important for all of us, even myself, to catch up with all those new technology study and understanding on all those, which I still frequently join CPD program or even short courses, especially related to those involved in industry 4.0. So, regardless whether a person's taking up any study or any in any faculty, it is important for us to continue to develop ourselves, which I myself have done it through my own professional bodies, like ACCA, on a lot of their CPDs and also training, because my firm work with ACCA in providing trainings to our staff in my company itself. So for all of you, it's very important to understand is, once you need to have a profession, right? Besides having a degree or any other, you need to have a profession. So what is would be like an accountant, a lawyer, an architect. We call ourselves accountant with the title of CA in Malaysia. Okay, architect or engineer might have IR, right? Lawyer might have their own bodies to certify them. So get yourself certified, which is the first one very important thing, because it set your profession. After you got the profession behind your name, you can start to choose on the industry that you want to go in or specialize within that. Okay, then you can some professionals or profession that allows you to mobilize internationally, because now with internet, okay, or with the IoT, Internet of Things, the market has actually opened. Like I myself, I easily deal with 15 countries around the world, okay, and especially now we are working from home. Our meetings are all conducted through Zoom. It doesn't require traveling like before. So when we service internationally. So you need to ensure you have a profession or join in a professional bodies that allows you to manage and rather than we look at our own country context. Of course, being a qualified accountant, I'm a qualified accountant in Malaysia, but I have a professional body like ACCA that allowed me to get through internationally, not only in Malaysia. So that is a future trend where one, we need to be professional qualified in the international standard. Number two, we must understand the market has opened and we have to deal with international market rather than our own country. Number three, we have to adapt and open to continuous learning instead of stop learning from now. My company even provide us LinkedIn learning where we can actually do our training or CPD anytime, anywhere. So that is the future where accounting or accountant will no longer limit to your own country, will not limit to debit and credit, okay, will not limit on you being to actually study and understand the local context. Okay, that will be my brief sharing, and also some experience and some tips to all of you on what to focus into the future. Cheryl, you might want to get some questions from the floor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ray, for giving us such informative insight about your industry experience. So I got a question for Mr. Ray. I'd like to ask, is there any suggestion for fresh grad to improve their practical skill for working?
Okay, fresh grad, if they want to evolve in their practical skill or working, number one, of course, you need to find a job. Okay, then you will have a practical skill. And at the same time, you might want to join in a more sizable firm or company where it actually gives you more opportunity to explore. You know, traditionally, a fresh graduate, especially accounting graduate, might join. When I graduate, I joined an audit firm for my practical experience. But that could be a choice that I only have 20 years back. Now, besides audit, we might even join a global shared service company. Like my company, which we provide services to about 320 plus companies across 15 companies. And also, the practical experience now doesn't only look at debit and credit. A practical experience for accounting graduate, besides the basic accounting and finance on debit credit, you will need to look at understanding on the new ERP system. Okay, because whatever we do now is no longer recording on the book or using a simple software. We are now using ERP to process our accounting data. Number three, we will probably have to look at continuous improvement under Industry 4.0 context, where understanding of AI, understanding of blockchain, those are very important. Now, AI could have become, it's already become a norm into my company operation, where when we process payment or process payment invoice, we are actually using AI to replace human to a certain extent, where we also have machine learning in recognizing my account payable process. So these are the part where there is the experience a fresh graduate need to obtain, rather than looking at debit credit only. It's no longer debit credit at the basic. Debit credit become a foundation. You need to have further knowledge on how Industry 4.0, for example, RPA and stable machine learning, and also on the ERP system, which is the key towards your future. In the future, everything will be digitalized, okay, and it will be automated, where ERP system took a very important ground on that. Cheryl, back to you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ray. It looks like we have a few questions from the participant. From Arki, Mr. What are the graduate attributes for someone who want to be successful in the accounting industry, especially in digital transformation era?
Okay. First, like what I mentioned earlier, you need to make sure that you are qualified to be an accountant under your country context, regardless of Malaysia or what. So you need to make sure you're what you call country qualified as the qualified accountant within the country. Number two, you need to ensure during your graduate study or university study, you do have some basic knowledge on what Industry 4.0 or the latest technology is all about. Number three, like what I mentioned earlier, when you want to get good practical experience, you might need to join certain company or a sizable company where they are actually ventured into all this. Now, certainly, most of the SMB might not. That you might need to join an MNC or a listed company where they have ventured themselves into this area, especially companies who are using a ERP system rather than a single entries accounting system. And it is very important for you to understand what digital transformation is all about. Like my company, my fresh graduate will be put into training on what RPA is all about. And besides that, as what you are students now, you can actually, my advice is you can actually venture into some online training on Excel. Now, don't look down on Excel. Excel form a very important foundation towards digital transformation and also on data science. So you can venture into area in Excel training like VBA, macro, Power Query. These are the common things that we are using now as part of the automation within our company operation. You can imagine, I can give you an example, which you might need to visualize a bit. In the past, if we are using the normal Excel, what they call function, I might need to do a report for 2 hours. But with this kind of Excel technique, right, on Power Query, on the others VBA macro, I might complete the what you call report within 20 minutes. So this kind of Excel technique that I just mentioned to you, like Power Query or VBA macro, is similar to something like AI within Excel. So within Excel itself, they have actually ventured further into a lot sophisticated software improvement that allows automation within Excel itself. It go beyond pivot table.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. So for the second question from Agustinos, what are the opportunities in this pandemic era by applying the technology-based accounting?
Okay. Like my own experience in my current firm is last year March, Malaysia locked down for the first time, right? And also all of us might not know what's going on and what to do, as we are not allowed to go back office. But we are still managed to do the month-end closing for 300 overs company at home. So this actually is with the help of technology. Now imagine if we are not using an ERP system and we don't do improvement to the ERP system, we will not be able to make it by closing from home because we will still need paperwork. Like my company, month-end closing is totally without paperwork. Okay, no prenup. It's all by through the ERP system, which is very interesting. And there are people are very surprised that we are able to close without failing the closing timeline. And companies chief information officer was surprised how we make it. Now, this is one very good example of how technology helps within this. And we are able to improve further through automation, like RPA, right? That or improvement through the AI feature within Excel. So these are part of technology. Now, don't imagine digital transformation is a very complicated issue. Digital transformation involves 3 steps. First is to digitize, or we say automate, where you are changing all the manual into digital form. Example, last time you fill in a form, you apply. That is what you call manual. Now, you fully key in through a system or through an online form, that is called digitize or automate. Automation, the second step will be automation. Whatever analog that you put into a system, digitize it through a system. Example, a common example that I always use is like where you actually can download information from a system without human intervention. It done automatically through a robot, okay, processed through the robot and sent to you by email without any single printout. So that is how technology changed, okay, that helped us during the pandemic, and also how what you call the common use of Zoom now is also being forced by what you call the. So this is something that fresh graduate need to understand. Okay, you might do work in office without any paper. That is true. Although our main business is selling paper.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. There's one last question from the participant, which is Yap Chin Yuan. Good evening, sir. Would like to know that are all the ACCA paper are tougher to score as they have just changed the format?
Okay, ACCA change the format is not to fail you, yeah. Right? ACCA change the format is to make sure that the ACCA graduate or ACCA affiliate are up to the market requirement, right? It will never be difficult to what do you call to graduate from ACCA. Myself, I graduate within 2 years of studies, and I'm also the prize winner for the auditing paper. Okay, but hard work required, right? And also you will need to understand study other external material rather than depending on your textbook itself. Okay, that is good. Especially I believe in TAR, TAR have produced a lot of prize winners and also great scorer within the ACCA program, right? So I believe no, it will not be tough, although the graduate rate or passing rate is scary. But don't imagine yourself into the fail side. Please imagine yourself in the pass side.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. There's one last question from the participant. Hi, sir. You have mentioned that you have worked in several companies before. What is your consideration in choosing the company to work for?
Okay, I will choose to move to a new company on 2 conditions. Number 1, will the new company make me better and give me opportunity to grow? This is very important. I joined my existing company from a very renowned local airline. Okay. Now, why I joined this company is because I see the growth in the GBS industry, where in future GBS industry will be the mainstream in accounting for finance. Number 2, a GBS company will give you an opportunity to learn what digital transformation is all about. Because for a GBS company, they will be the first company or the first platform to perform all these digital transformation. Number 3, a new requirement for an accountant in the future, which I have touched on earlier, is on continuous improvement, where you need to learn things like Lean Six Sigma, Kaizen, and all those improvement methodology. As in future, no one will actually survive with only debit credit because it has been replaced by robot. It has been replaced by technology. So what we as a hiring manager, as I mentioned earlier, required from fresh graduate is no longer debit credit. That is a foundation. That is a must know. What we need from you is your brain, your thought, your adaptation to new changes. Therefore, for a hiring manager perspective, right, we will look at that, the fresh graduate attitude towards that, rather than how good you are in your debit.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ray. There is few more questions to go.
If you all have time, I don't mind.
Okay.
Or you later you can provide them my my LinkedIn contact to them, or Mr. Koh can provide them my numbers.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Great. Thanks for coming. Great.
No problem.
So we continue with the
Yeah,
Q&A session.
I'm okay with that. If everybody willing to stay and listen to my story.
Okay, another question from Archie. Hi, sir. Allow me to ask you another question. In your opinion, will accountants replace IT, or the IT will replace accountants' profession? Based on the information that I had, in Industrial Revolution 4.0 era, the development of accountants continue to lag with the acceleration of technological growth, where this phenomena has caused a job polarization.
Okay, now one thing, accountant will not be replaced. That is for sure. But non-accountant job, which is those processing job, like processing of invoice, you key in invoice, all those manual key in process job will be replaced, but not accountant. Now, the question, one of the part of the question asked is, hey, IT create accountant. Actually, it's not. Actually, it's accountant create IT. Why? Because all the ERP system, okay, is designed based on accountant's need, not accountant doing the job based on IT need. And all this digitalization, especially when it involves accounting related area, you require accountants' knowledge and also input to set that up. For example, when I have a digital transform project, okay, I'm the brain towards the project. IT is the doer. They have to base on what I required in order to set up the IT project. Not that we meet into what IT need. That is not the case. Okay, all the accounting graduate, okay, don't worry, accountant will not be replaced. That is what I see, okay, and that is what I feel. But accounting process job will replace. So don't think of going to find a job as account clerk in the future, because the clerk will be replaced by robot, but not the accountant. Okay, not a accounting graduate like you, or not any of the professional accountancy study students. I cannot only say ACCA because of others, but in ACCA context, why they frequently change the syllabus is to make sure that ACCA graduate meets the market requirement on the basic fundamental academic knowledge that they require. I hope I answered you rightly on your question.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ray.
Sorry, Ray. I think your answer, I think, is very apt here, because very frequently we encounter parents expressing concern, asking us whether accounting profession is it going to be a sunset profession because of digitalization.
Hey, you should bring me to your school and explain to them, man.
Yeah, that's what we told ACCA. We need ACCA to do their part to explain to parents or to the public the importance of accountants, where the accountants will never be replaced by so-called AI or even robotics.
We accountant create AI, right?
Yeah, that's what you say. Yeah, that's right.
We accountant create AI, but the accountant who doesn't improve themselves will be killed by AI because they only do processing job.
Yeah, true, very true. Yeah.
The legal job. Like I myself, even though I'm an operation lead now for a GBS, I have about 200 over staff reporting to me. But I'm still learning from LinkedIn. I'm still learning from research paper. I'm still wanted to attend short courses or certificate courses that certified me towards Industry 4.0 because I need to adapt to the environment. Environment adapt to me. Once again, I specified this is the accounting processing job, manual processing job that will be replaced, but not the professional qualified accountant. They will not be replaced. Okay, you still need people to analyze the result, which robot can't do. They only help you to process faster. Okay, why? Because a robot can at midnight, but not human. So when we do RPA, when we do all those manual data processing, we process at midnight, which human is hard to do. That part will be replaced. So no more accounting clerk, no more accounting executive. Okay, those jobs will be replaced, but not accountant. They will still need accountant. Plus, to all the graduates here, I remind all of you again on what I mentioned earlier. What you need is your first 3-year foundation to become a qualified accountant. With that knowledge, you can expand yourself to other industry or other profession related to finance and accounting, like myself. When I was in China, I'm general manager for one of the largest Mercedes-Benz center in the world. Right? Now some other what you call center, which is bigger one, will replace them. So this is how me having the knowledge as a professional accountant built my career. Or I always take this example. Dr. Mahathir is a doctor, but he's a prime minister of Malaysia, right? The doctor degree or the doctor profession set him a good foundation to be successful. But knowledge must be acquired along the way. That's why professional accountant or qualified accountant are required to attend CPD to upgrade their knowledge. Okay, and for all the graduates here, another piece of advice is whenever a candidate come to me, okay, to apply for a job, they tell me they have 10 years experience. I will ask them, okay, you are using one experience for the past 10 years, or in the past 10 years, you accumulated different experience. I hope you all understand what I mean. If a candidate tell me they have 10 years experience, I will ask them, one experience for the past 10 years, or in the past 10 years, you have accumulated different type of experience. Right? So please think about this. Okay, Cheryl.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ray. Last two questions from the participants. For Miss Iris, how ACCA ensure that the syllabus is aligned to industry need, i.e. automation?
Okay, Raymond, correct me if I'm wrong. Raymond from ACCA, I think is joining us also. In ACCA itself, they have a team of research professional where they actually study and understand what the industry required. So after they study what the industry required, they will actually put up a proposal to ACCA, all right, to get their syllabus amended to meet the market need. They got it through survey, they got it through talk, they got it through discussion or blueprint set up. I think it is a very complicated process, which I'm not able to tell in very, very detail. It's just like some of the university. I'm sure also TAUC will do that also. You have a team of people that actually study what is required in the market. Then they either do syllabus change or they will invite people like me to come in and share with you all the soon to be graduate, understand what the really need. So like today, you are hearing from a hiring manager, right, which tell you what I need from the candidate or what the market need from the candidate itself. Raymond, you have anything to add?
Yeah, thanks, Ray. I think what you said is correct. Actually, everyone can go to our website, accaglobal.com, and search for professional insights. So these are the reports and research done by ACCA with their approved employers, with students, members worldwide to tackle different topics in financial or accounting industry. And from that research paper, you can get a lot of insights on where the industry is heading to, what the future looks like in automation, for example. So you can get all these very relevant things that is happening around us, and also 10 years, 20 years down the road, how does our world looks like? So that is the professional insights research. A lot of topics and papers you can find on our website under professional insights.
In fact, sometimes I'm using ACCA textbook to provide me some basic understanding on something new, right? Like when they come out with the SBL paper, I do read through on the AI blockchain section because provide foundation and easy understand entry level of information or knowledge to me. Cheryl?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ray. It looks like we have covered all of our questions. So I have attached Mr. Ray's LinkedIn profile in the chat box. So please do not hesitate to reach out to Mr. Ray via LinkedIn. Okay. Once again, thank you for making time with us today at this event. So now I will hand over to Miss Oi. Thank you, and over to you, Miss Oi. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Koh.
Thanks. See you. Hopefully can see you sometime near future.
You need to invite me more frequent.
Yeah, true. But then unfortunately now our campus are closed.
No worries, we can do it virtually online.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. See you.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Ray Kartik, very much for the fruitful sharing section on his industry experience. I have definitely learned something from the section just now. Also, thank you, Ms. Cheryl Lim Qian Ying, for passing back the floor to me. Dear all, Mr. Ray Kartik's LinkedIn link had been provided in the chat box. Kindly send in a message to him on LinkedIn if you have any questions or enquiries regarding the talk just now. time definitely passes faster when we are learning. Here comes to the end of our Day 2 International Accounting and Finance Competition 2021. Here is a small recap for today's event. For today, we enjoyed ourselves in a talk by Indonesian speaker Bu Devi Fitriasari, PhD, CSRS, CSRA, CMA, Business Risk Management, RIG leader. Next, the talks by Malaysian speaker Mr. Gagan Deep Nakpal from Deloitte, the case study and business pitching which performed in breakout rooms, the sharing section by Mr. Ray Engkatik from FCCA, and also the amazing performances by Venus University. Thank you, our VIPs, for taking time out from your busy schedule to attend the event today. Never to forget, thank you all the judges, also the participants for making this event a success. We hope everyone achieved what you came here to achieve today. It's not the end of the International Accounting and Finance Competition 2021 yet. We would like to remind you again that the TikTok challenge for all those who in this room is still going on. You can make a TikTok video and must use the hashtags. The hashtags consist of hashtag IAC 2021, hashtag accounting Venus, hashtag TARUC, hashtag Venus TARUC IAC, and also hashtag 25 accounting Venus. Also, here's a small reminder of the cut-off time for the TikTok challenge. The cut-off time is at 9 a.m. Jakarta time, also 10 a.m. Malaysia time tomorrow. There are cash prizes awaiting you to win through participation in the TikTok challenge and also the International Accounting and Finance Competition 2021. Stay tuned and get excited for the winner announcement tomorrow. Participants, please fill up the evaluation form for Day 2 event by scanning the QR code on screen or access with the link provided. For tomorrow's event, we will have the activities recap, sharing section by participant, the choir video and cultural dance performance, the alumni section by Indonesian speaker, also the Kahoot game section. Our dress code for tomorrow will be the national dress code. You may wear batik or anything that resembles the National Day. Here comes to the end of Day 2 for International Accounting and Finance Competition 2021. Before we dismiss, we would like to have a photo section with everyone here to keep our memories. Everyone ready? In 3, 2, 1, smile! Thank you everyone for staying till the end. See you all tomorrow, 27 June 2021 at 9 a.m. Jakarta time, also 10 a.m. Malaysia time. Have a good rest and take care. Goodbye.